Hi, it's Colleen and welcome back to my channel. I have discovered that I am slightly one track. That means I can really only work on one project at a time. I know some people on YouTube are able to juggle multiple projects and they give updates on those projects. That's not really how I work. In order for me to clear my brain for the next project, I kind of need to have everything else caught up. One of the things I need to catch up is my alterations basket. I have 4 things to alter today, and I'm just going to bring you along with me so you can see how easy it is to customize the fit of your own clothing. The first 3 items are made from stretch denim. I have 2 skirts and 1 pair of skinny jeans. And I have a love-hate relationship with denim, I really do. It's hard to get a good fit for me. I am very much an hourglass figure, so I carry a lot of weight in my hips and my thighs. In order to get a good fit there, jeans are often too big in the waist for me. And particularly when it comes to skirts, kind of ride up throughout the day and kind of creep around because they're way too big at the waist. What I'd like to do today is alter 2 skirts and 1 pair of jeans. The jeans have a huge gap at the waistband in the back, big enough for me to shove my arm down through there, and that's when I put them on fresh out of the wash. If I've been wearing them a while, I'm just constantly tugging them up. If I get up from a chair, they've crept way down and I have to yank them back up, and that's no fun. So I'm going to fix that. And I have 2 skirts I'll fix for the similar problem in the waistband. One of those skirts is cut much more straight than the other one, and I did end up having to go up 2 sizes from what I normally wear. It's also just a little bit long, and it has this weird triangle like vent in the front. I don't like the way that looks on me. I'm going to shorten it and then fill in the triangle with some stretch fabric. The last thing I'm going to work on is a sweater dress, and I love the way it looks on the top. It's just too long, and I'll never wear it as a dress, but it's too long, I think, to wear with a pair of jeans or a pair of leggings. So I'm going to shorten that by about 4.5 inches, and I'll show you how easy that is to do. I have turned the sweater dress inside out, and I am looking at the hem. So I'll show that to you here. The hem has a knitted in finish. It's like a little bit of ribbing right there. I'm not going to be able to replicate that in my sewing room. So I need to think right now, how am I going to make this look neat and professional, but still have the stretch that you get from knit. If I sew it with the wrong kind of stitching, for example, it will lose its stretch and the thread will break and it will fall apart on me. I need to stabilize the edge so it won't fray, and I need to have a nice neat finish. What I'm going to do is trim it the length that I want. So here's my chalk mark right here. That's 4.5 inches. So I'll trim it 4 inches, which gives me a 1/2 inch to run through the serger. That will stabilize the edge. Then I'll fold it up and stitch it with a twin needle. Here's an example on this. It's sort of that classic knit finish where you have 2 lines of stitching on the one side and sort of the zigzaggy stuff on the back side. This was done by an overlocker machine, which I don't have, but you can replicate this with a twin needle, and then the back is kind of like a zigzag stitch. And so it preserves the stretch and gives you a nice look. First, I'm going to cut this off. Then I'm going to experiment on my scrap with all of my stitch lengths and my tensions to make sure I've got it just right before I go on to finish the final garment. Here I'm testing the serger, and you can see that I'm checking the stitch, adjusting the tension, and eventually deciding that I need to adjust the stitch length in order to get the kind of finish that I want on this sweater. This right here is exactly what I want. Now I'm choosing a twin needle. You need 2 threads for a twin needle. So I'm inserting a spool holder on top of my machine and then grabbing both of those threads and threading the machine as if they are 1 thread. I'm inserting the twin needle and then threading each eye of the twin needle using tweezers. And from there you just proceed normally and test out your stitching. Here you can see that the stitching tension is a little bit too tight and it's creating a bump. So I'm lowering the tension, sewing again, and there you can see that that's exactly what I need it to look like, and I still have plenty of stretch in that seam. So I went ahead and finished the garment using the serger and the twin needle. I pressed it, and that's what the finished hem looks like. This is the jeans, and they fit really nicely everywhere except at the waist. So they're just too straight from here up through here. And I need to take out a wedge that probably reduces the waistband by maybe 2 inches total. I'm going to make the same alteration to all 3 of my denim pieces. This is the other skirt. This is a 14. The jeans are a 14. I really need more like a 12 in the waist. The Banana Republic skirt actually is very straight up and down. It's more like a pencil skirt made out of denim. So I wanted more looseness in the hips and thighs, which means I have to take a lot more out of the waist on this one. For this skirt, there is not as much top stitching and structure and that kind of stuff that I need to worry about up here at the top. It doesn't have the same kind of a waistband that the jeans do and that the other skirt does. I'm just going to take out a dart. This one's a little closer in fit than the other ones are. So I'm going to just take out a little dart that will go here to here, right above both pockets. I'm taking up about 3/4 of an inch on each side. And that'll look about like that. So I'm going to do that for this skirt. For the jeans and the other skirt, I need to take off this belt loop. I do not wear belts because they add bulk, and also when you have the same problem that I do, you'll know that you can put a belt on, but you'll be left with all this extra fabric in there, and it's either bunchy or it slips down below the belt. So then the belt ends up going across here, your waistband's hanging down below it. My preference is to actually fix these the proper way. In the case of this and the black skirt, I'm going to remove this belt loop on each side, and then I'm going to take a dart out that goes from here all the way up to the waistband. So from nothing down here up to taking up about 1 inch on either side, and it will be on the back, so that way I don't have to worry about this rivet right here. So we're just going to take this in by stitching from nothing down here up through to the top. If I took all of that out here, my pocket will end up too big, right? So I don't want to have to alter the pocket, and I don't want to take it here because if I do, I'll end up with a weird lump at the bottom of that dart right about here on the butt, and I don't want that either. I don't want to take out a lot of width in the hips, so I've got to be careful with the way that angle is, but that should do the trick nicely. So just as I described, I'm sewing from the waistband down to the side seam, and I'm just taking out a dart of fabric. You do need to go kind of slow over the thickest part of the waistband, but just take your time and your machine will be okay. I'm doing the same thing here with the pull-on skirt. When I finished adjusting the waist of these 3 denim items, I did run them through the serger to remove the extra fabric and finish the raw edge. I've already taken off the belt loops for adjusting the waistband on this, but I'm going to also go ahead and shorten it, and then that way when I go to the sewing machine, I'll have everything ready and can sit down and take care of all of it at once. I need to take off approximately 1.5 inches from this. I need to allow for a hem. So what I'd like to do is measure the original hem and recreate it. This is a 1/2 inch finished hem. I'm going to serge the edge of my fabric and just flip it up once to reduce bulk. I'm going to take off 1 inch, and that will leave me a 1/2 inch to turn up to get it to the length that I want it to be. Then you can see on the back the fabric meets. There's no gap, but on the front it's like this weird triangular gap. I don't like it. It shows my knee right where I would rather not have my knee shown. So I'm going to fill in the gap with some black knit, and I want to make sure that my knit is going in the direction I want it to go. So you see my stretch is this way, but not so much that way. I want this fabric to be the same. I can stretch it a lot that way and not so much this way. I am going to allow for the same kind of hem as is on here. I'm going to go ahead and just cut a square of this fabric, and that way I can get this bigger piece out of my way. I know that I need to hem that by 1/2 inch. Very lightly chalking that in. It's worth making the alteration because I'm much more likely to wear it if it's a length that I like. So we'll take this over to the sewing machine and get all of our pieces prepared. We'll stitch up the waistband and get the hem in there, and then insert this little piece of fabric. What is that? It's a giant clump of, ooh, look what came out of my machine. That's disgusting. Boy, there's a lot of fuzz coming out of my machine. I think it might be in need of a good cleaning. Here's what I ended up with. I am just going to stitch that in there and hope for the best. So we're just going to go right over that line of stitching. If you get to where you can sew, you can get exactly the fit you want, even if it's a little big somewhere. As long as it fits you through the thickest part of your body, you can always take it in everywhere else where it's too big. So don't be afraid to try on different sizes when you're at the store, especially when there's a really good sale. Remember, the problem isn't with your body, and it isn't with the item of clothing. That little tag with a number on it is actually kind of arbitrary. As you know, if you shop from brand to brand or store to store, you might be a 12 in one brand, a 14 in another brand, and a 16 in a third brand. That's not a problem with your body. It's a problem with the fashion industry. So get the number out of your head and learn how to alter your clothes so that it doesn't matter what size it is, you make it fit your body, which is fine just the way it is.